Hey guys, what's up? So I want to talk about some tips and tricks with Revit, and these are just kind of some generic um, tips to just get you working in Revit a little bit more quick. And so I'm hoping that these help you out, and that some of these you didn't already know. So the first one is tabbing between views. So I personally don't use this a lot, but it's a good workflow for people that have specific views open and they kind of get an understanding of the way that they work from view to view. The people that are familiar with this you could set it up in the previous versions from previous to 19 to where you kind of knew which one was going to open up next. But with this, with 19 being able to see the tabs, it's a little easier to see that which one's going to tab and come up next. So by doing this, you'll just do a control, and then by pressing control and then tab, and it's just going to move you to the next one. So real quick before I keep moving on, I've got the sample project open that Autodesk created, so you can use that. It doesn't really matter. You can open up just whatever project. That's one of them I have open. The next one is where I'm going to do most of my tips is a level 1. Right now it's just a view level 1, but this project was entirely empty. I think it was the architectural template. Again, you could use whatever you like. These aren't going to be specific to any template or anything. So with that, you can follow along if you want. Doesn't really matter. Get what you want out of it. Leave the rest alone if it doesn't improve your workflows. So I've got that open. I also have some families open, and we'll talk about those in a minute. They haven't been saved, but this is family 1, this is family 2. So we'll talk about that in a second when I get to that tip. So first one, tabbing between views, control and tab. And then the next one is dragging families into Revit. So like inserting families, it works in the same way. We can load families and we can select multiple families, press OK. I'm going to press cancel all of that. And another workflow is to just have maybe your view window open. Let's say you're kind of going through a number of projects, looking at them and trying to figure out, maybe it's been a previous project, you work with the elements, you have a project library that you want to grab them from. You can do that as well. For example, right now we're in the default library. I'm going to use this for this example, but this could be applied in any that you have RFAs. And so what I'll do is I'll just, grab one, which we do need this later, so I'll grab generic model element tag, and you can drag it directly in there. It's going to load it, and then it's going to activate it so that you could use it. If I open that up again, and we'll take a look, you can grab a number of them. So if I just grab these, just so that I can show you, you can say, so these already exist in this model, so that's why it's prompting me with this. I'm going to press cancel because I frankly I don't want these in here. So with this, so dragging families into models. Another cool tip is for if you want to save out models or save out families. If you come over here in the project browser, this kind of gives you a list of all your families in the model. It isn't specific to what's actually in the project model. This is kind of everything that's inside the project, active or inactive. So if you right click family, you can say save. It doesn't really give you you can't drill down into it and save specific things, but you can do a save, and then from here you can just save out all your family. So maybe you pick a project library or a project folder and just say, hey, this is a dump of every single item that's within this project. So that's a quick way to do it. Another way is to bring in all your families, let's say from 17, bring them all into 19. It upgrades every single one, and then right click to save. I would recommend just using Dynamo for a task like that. There's a good resource out there to look into a folder and upgrade everything in there, and then you can kind of let that run on the side. I'll share that below, just if you want to take a look at that. So that's saving and importing families. As you saw when I right click too, you can search stuff. So if I come up here and search, I can say level 1. Next, it's going to kind of take me to that one and then take me sequentially down to the next set of items. So as we see, this list could be, getting very complicated. So if we kind of have an idea of where something is, we can drill down into this and go to the next one. What it's going to do is, from the place we selected, for this example, I selected for my second one ceiling plans, and it drilled down into the first level one after that select point. So if I want to go higher up in the hierarchy, I can start at views, and it's going to go sequentially down the entire list until it gets to the bottom, and there's nothing left in the project browser with that name. And you can do that with families as well. It's going to keep drilling down into families, or you can come down here and kind of do a quick search. And you also have some, and if I remember correctly, I think this is a 18 and 19 improvement. You can come into your project browser, and we can say collapse all, and then we can also expand all. So you could also do the same thing in here too. I'm going to expand everything. Expand selected. Expand selected. Collapse selected. Collapse all. So play around with that. I kind of like it because generally when I get into a project I'm not too familiar with, somebody that's already been using the model pretty heavily has got a number of views in the project browser that are open that aren't going to be too specific to the reasons why you're getting in there maybe. So collapse it all, and then you can kind of go from there. So the next one is the paint tool. So this kind of works pretty simply, and you may need this for if you're doing stuff with, I'm going to close that other model. I don't think we need it, so I'll close that. And then I'll just open up a 3D view. So I'll come up here and do my default 3D view. Take a look at it, and then in my Modify tab, I'll come down here and we can apply paint. You can also do remove paint from here too. Apply paint. You'll get this little panel with your materials, and let's just say we'll just grab this kind of red carpet that's obviously not going to be on there, and you'll see it gives the materials kind of visual style look to it. If we come down here into our visual styles and we change it to something like shaded, we can see. If we change it to consistent colors, we can see that as well. And then realistic is going to give that kind of rendered look to it. You may need to do this on the interior walls by applying different finishes on there just to visually show it. But if you go into the actual wall itself and edit the structure, it hasn't added that material to that structure, so you don't have to worry about that. This is kind of just a visual thing. Using Dynamo, or you can extract that kind of information as well. So I'll close this 3D view and let's get back into the level 1. I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to straighten that wall out. Okay, so the next one is the spaces and decimals, and using some functions within your dimensions and stuff, and this is applied in parameters as well, kind of the same functionality in there. So what I'll do is I'm just going to draw some lines real quick. So I'll just do the LI quick keyboard shortcut. I'm just going to draw 2 lines that are kind of parallel with each other, and then I'll just do DI for the dimensions tool. You could also come up to the annotate tab and press the inline dimensions tool. Select both points, and then I'll select one of the lines. I'll grab this, and before you put anything, just put an equal sign, and then you can do things like 2 plus 2. Oops. Let me fix that. Not equal to 2 plus 2 equals 4. You could do something like equals to, oh, not that. Equals 2 minus 1. We'll put that equal. You may need to do something like this if you've got a drafting view that, or a drawing that's been set up differently, or you want things to, it's all based off of the information that you receive. or that you have an idea of how things are supposed to be spaced, you can kind of get an idea with this and say, hey, everything's 2 times 2, or I mean 2 plus 2 or whatever. So if we, let's grab this. I'm going to show a couple more. For the times one, it's 3 or equal 3. It's the little star. Let's do 3. That's going to equal 9. So you have that as well. Some other cool functionality in there is if we do millimeters. So we can say this is, let's say 1,000 millimeters. It's going to put that information in there as well. We can also do, let me delete this. So another cool thing is tagging nested families and just nested families in general. So I may do another video of how to set those up, but for our reference, I'll just quickly kind of take a look at those. So I've got a family here. So this is family 1. I have this is the geometry that is native to family 1. This is the nested family here. So the way that this works and the way that we're going to be able to tag this is if we actually go into our reference or into our family 2, we see that we have this extrusion here. So if we come up to our modified tab and then the family category and parameters button, we can press this, and over here in family parameters, if we drill down into this, we can press shared, and that's gonna pretty much that option is gonna enable it to be able to have functionality in the Revit project so that you can use it for other things. So I'm gonna press OK. To load it, you're gonna load it from here, load into project. You're gonna pick the family that you want to load it into. I'm going to press cancel because that's already the case. I've already loaded it. So here it is. I am going to look at the type mark. So that's going to be an edit type. We have a type mark right here. I'm going to exit out of that. And if you want to look at mark, we're going to have to look at a different tag, which I'll show you in a bit. I'm going to load this into the level 1. So load, pick the project, and then you can load it in here. It's already in here, so I'm just going to come over to architecture and pick component, and then I'll look for that family. Hold a minute, it may not be loaded if I remember. I don't think I did, so let me load it in actually real quick. So I'll just do that. Project 2, okay. Now we have that element. I can place it. I'm going to delete these 2 lines. So we have our element. Right now it highlights, and we can see that we get both. To do that, and this is another tip, tabbing is massively important, and it's not more or less a tip. That's kind of the most important thing you need to know in Revit is tabbing into elements. You may need to do this kind of stuff when you're getting into walls and stuff. You can tab into it and select the entire perimeter of the wall, and tab into it in different items that are kind of right next to each other. So that's kind of what's going on with this. If we go into it, we can tab, and we'll see that we can select it as almost a separate element, because it is, and we can then tag it as a separate element too and update its information. So maybe, and this is a nice workflow, if hey, this element is maybe it's a utility box that's associated with a specific piece of equipment. That equipment is periodically being updated. The electrical equipment, not so much. We want to tie parameters into both of them, but we don't want to separate them. Keep them all consistent in the same file. That way the information is just consolidated in one area. We can do that, and by just, when we do get new updated equipment, we just load it into family 1 and we're good to go. This stays always updated as it is, and if we want to separate or update this, we'll just load it into the family that it's associated with. So if we want to tag this as separate things, if we do TG for the tag command, TG, we can tag the elements pretty quickly. So before I do that, you may run into the fact that you're not going to be able to tag it. So what I'll do is earlier we loaded the generic model element tag, so I'm going to delete this. I'll press TG again. We'll see that we can't tag that. We'll get that prompt yes, just to show you this workflow. It'll default to a path, our library path. We'll come here, U.S. Imperial or U.S. metric if that works for you, whatever the case is. Annotation, and then I'll just press G to jump down to generic model element tag, and then I'll press open, and then I have it. So as you see, it's going to tag this first. It's going to pop up a little question mark. If I want to tag this element, I'll tab into it, and it'll give me a new tag. I'll move this out of the way so we can see it. I'm going to select this model, and then I'm going to edit the type, because that specific tag that we loaded in is actually looking at the type mark. So that's a type parameter. So if I grab this and let's just say M1, okay, and then to update this one, we'll actually go into it, do the same thing, edit type, edit the type parameter. Let's say this is M2, press OK, and now we have that mark value that's been updated. If we do want it to look at the specific instance and not the type, we can actually get into the edit family editor and then take a look at our text and then see what the label is and what parameter it's actually pulling out. So and I'll do that again, if I select the text, then come up here to edit label. You could also come over here into the properties and press edit label, and it's going to show you what it's reading. So right now it's reading the type mark, and say for whatever the reason is, we want it to look at the actual mark value, we would just find that in this list here. So we can see, okay, here's mark, we'll bring that over. We don't want to look at type mark, so we'll get rid of that, we'll say okay, and then what we'll do is we'll load it back into the project 2, which is the active project that we've been doing our examples in. Press OK. I'm going to say overwrite the existing version. If you overwrite the existing version and its parameter values, what it's going to do is, say you have a whole bunch of equipment and every piece of equipment is given a different mark value. What it's going to do is, if you overwrite the existing version and its parameter values, is it's going to overwrite every single one of those with its default parameter value within the family. So just for good practice, avoid that one. Use overwrite the existing version. And now we see that it's gone blank because really we have no values associated with this. So we'll select it, and it kind of works in the same way, except for this is an instance, so we're not getting into the type. We're going to take a look at the properties to this specific instance, and we'll say again, this is M1. We'll see that this one updates. This one is associated with this, so it doesn't. If we tab into it, we can select that. We can come down here to mark and say that's M2 again. Press OK, or click out of it. We see that it's been updated. This item's associated as one thing. If we want to look at this again, we can easily, if needed, rearrange this element to do, just visually look different, and say we get an entirely different element, maybe from a subcontractor or consultant that's designing this piece of equipment. We can easily go back into this family, or we can take the updated family and load it back into this spot. So just reloading it, and with this update, I can load it back into there again. Overwrite the existing version, because if this was being driven, for example, that particular element didn't have a lot of parameters associated with it, but if it was being driven geometrically to flex in different areas, then whatever the default distances within the parameters, it would associate that to every instance that you have within your project. So again, don't press that unless you need to do that for some reason. So I'll press override existing version. It's going to override and update that element to look that way, and we now have both the tags there. So apply this workflow where you see it could work best. Hopefully that does help you out. Another one is the Orient of View. So this is a super cool little functionality, and what I'll do is I'll do a create similar. I'll just select that wall and then do Q or CS to pretty much activate that same command that created that, and I'll just draw a wall, but I'm going to change the constraints. So I'm going to say, hey, this is going to be 6 feet now in height. I'm going to draw this out, and now if we go into our elevation and I just right click that and I can go to the elevation view. We can see it's, you know, a little bit below level 2. So back into into a 3D view. So we'll come up here and do our 3D default view. Select that, and then in my view cube, so this is going to be view cube orient to view. So this is a nice little functionality that you have. So if you right click, you can orient to a view, and then we've got floor plans and elevations. So for this example, I want to orient to the floor plan level 1. So we'll see that it's reoriented itself to the top view. If we rotate this, we can see that it's sectioned down a little bit. And it's cutting off these level 2 walls, and we now see this one. So I'm going to do the same thing with, I'm going to orient to level 2, so I'll just do the same thing. And we'll see now we don't see the level 1 wall, we just see the level 2 and every element that would be associated in that level 2 area. So what it's doing is it's taking a look at our view that we have set up. So we take a look, floor plan, we have a level 1 view, level 2, and then it's simply just kind of taking a look at our view ranges and then kind of constraining the box specific to that. And that kind of leads me to my next one that has to do with section boxes. And say we have a whole bunch of stuff and we kind of just want to section in pretty quickly to an element. We can come up here to our modify tab, and we can see selection box, and what it's going to do is kind of fit that selection box kind of around the element that you've highlighted. And you can do multiple elements as well. So if I go back into, let's say, my floor plan view, we'll select those two. Again, we'll get this on the modify tab, we'll say, or not that one, over here we'll get this selection box, and now it's oriented itself height wise and vertically and horizontally to the elements that we selected. So that's section boxes and kind of different things you could do. View cube, orient to view, so we'll do another one, which is moving a sheet into another sheet, or moving a view into a sheet. So this is kind of cool. I like it. I haven't used it too much. So what we'll do is we'll expand it. You'll see here I have a 101 sheet. If you don't have a sheet created, you can say new sheet. You'll get this dialog box. If you don't have a template that already has sheets associated with it, excuse me, you'll see none. That's okay too. You can just press OK. It's just going to give you a kind of an open plane with nothing in it, so there's no sheet to kind of constrain what you're looking at, but it works in the same way. You're going to still be able to drag something into it, and you'll still get a little sheet down here as well to click on. So I'll exit out of that, and the tip I want to show you is if you select, and I think you can, you can't multi-select, but you can select one drawing. Let's say level 1, we want it to be on A101. We can easily open that sheet and then drag it from there, but we can also do the same workflow the other way around by dragging it directly into the A101 sheet. Drag it. It's going to open the dialog box. That'll automatically let us pick a point to place that drawing. And I guess really the only thing that's effectively doing is preventing you from doing multiple clicks. So if you already have this open, you could do, boom, and then you're already in there, instead of coming down here, double clicking on this, opening it, then coming back over here, dragging your view. And this little prompt here, because I'm dragging the exact same view or floor plan onto the sheet, it's pretty much saying, hey, you can't do this because there's duplicate views here. And it's telling me if I want to do something like that, you can right click it and then duplicate that view. So I'll delete that real quick. So my next one is reveal constraints. So this is a pretty nice one. I like it, especially when you got a large project and for whatever reason, maybe something got shifted around, and you went to go put it back, and you're getting this, hey, constraints are unsatisfied, you can't do this, and you don't know what constraint or what's happening. So if that's the case, you can take a look to see if there's any constraints that are going on in your model that are preventing you from doing different things. And so what we'll do is I'll just draw a grid line, and I'll do GR for grid line. You could also come up into I think it's your annotate tab. Actually, I'll just take an opportunity to show you another quick kind of tip. And if you do KS for keyboard shortcuts, you could also come into your view, and then over here in the user interface, drop it down. You'll see keyboard shortcuts. So if I press that, so you get this, and for example, I kind of got lost on where grids are. I can easily search grids in here, and we'll see a list of everything that kind of starts with grids or has grid in their name or those specific letters. And we kind of see here grid, and this is probably our best bet of the location of where the grids are. So grid, and then we can see architecture, and then datum, and then we'll get this little symbol here, and then structure, and then datum. So what this is saying is here, right here at this point, it's splitting. So architecture, datum, that's where they are. On the architectural tab, you can find grids, and structure and datum is the same thing as well. You can find them in that location. So we'll take a look, and that's really good use, good tip, because if you kind of have an idea of what you're looking for, go to keyboard shortcuts and then search for whatever it is. It's going to give you a path to that location. So we saw that it was in the architecture, so architecture and then the datum panel. So we'll come over here and we'll see datum panel. Oh, we've got grid. So, and then structure, same thing, structure, datum panel, and there's grid again. So I'll click grid, place the grid. I placed it some earlier, so now it's sequentially kind of going to the next one. I'll just change it to 1, and we'll move it over here, and then we'll take this wall and then move it and then lock it to it, and then we'll draw another grid. So this time I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut GR. I'm going to draw up, move it over a bit, and we can then come down here to show us our constraints. So real quick, while this is on, you'll see I mean I can't move that. Try it. I'm just gonna select it again, do MV for move. You don't want that grid to do that because it's constrained. So stuff like that where it's constrained, it's moving with it, or you're getting, hey, you've got two things constrained and you can't do this, or this is going to happen, and you want to turn that stuff off. You can press that constrain button down here at the bottom, and you'll see here in red it's showing you pretty much that this item is constrained. If we select those items over here, then we can see that padlock and turn it off. So for this instance, it's not too difficult, because even without that, we can say, hey, okay, I know it's there because there's not too many elements and it's not too confusing. But when things get pretty heavy and there's a lot of stuff going on, you may want to get in there and take a look at the constraint and kind of, or the constraint function, and see what's being constrained, what isn't, so that you can easily turn them off if needed. And that's pretty much it for what I got. Please let me know if you have any other cool tips, or if you want me to explain any of these in more context, or just with more information. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I really do hope that this helps you out and makes you a little bit more efficient with Revit in the way that it works. Please reach out anytime. You can leave a comment if you have a question. If you don't want to share it specifically on YouTube, you can easily try to reach out to me. Just go to the About, and I'll have my information there. And I really appreciate you watching, and thanks a lot.